WBC Lightweight Champion Shakur Stevenson versus late replacement Josh Padley. Now, Padley worked his electrician job on Tuesday before getting the call to fill in for Floyd Schofield on short notice and flew in to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on Wednesday. Hard enough to go up against a talented guy like Shakur Stevenson with a full notice, let alone a short notice. Take nothing away from Padley. Game lasted 9 rounds. A lot of heart. He tried. He showed grit. He was determined. But in the end, Shakur Stevenson did what he was supposed to do and showed that he was levels above him. Gets a stoppage in the 9th round after dropping Padley 3 times at Padley's corner, throwing in the towel. What did you think of Shakur Stevenson's performance?
Well, what you said, bud, to be honest. I mean, you know, and what the fans always say, you always hear it. You hear it with the fans that, you know, are brilliant, that give their comments, and the ones that aren't quite as brilliant, but, you know, they think they are. You know, it's all right. I think I'm brilliant with certain things, and damn, I'm certainly not, you know, and I'm certainly not. I know what I'm good at. I think I'm pretty good at knowing a little bit about boxing, but I know I'm not brilliant at cooking. That's why your mom is going to cook for Sean Porter when he comes over here. I know I'm not brilliant at that, and I don't try to be. But some of the fans, when they're putting their comments in it, when I do see them, which is not too often, they say a common thing that they say. There's levels to this. I love that when they say, Daddy, there's levels to this. Yeah, there are. Yeah, fellas, there are levels to this, yes. And that couldn't be more evident and obvious than in this fight. There's levels to this stuff and everything that we do in life. There's levels. There's levels to guys in the courtroom, as lawyers, to people do what you do as a scout in the NFL and as a director of scouting, to people that are teachers in the classroom, to whatever it is, to trainers in boxing. There's, 100%. There's levels, and it showed. Big difference. But Padley, to his credit, as you said, undefeated kid coming in, he took the fight on quick notice, gritty kid, game kid, gave it his all. He only has 4 knockouts in, 15, 16 fights, whatever it was. He only had 4 knockouts. So, you know, he didn't have a puncher's chance, you know. And then if he didn't have a puncher's chance, but what chance did he have? A boxer's chance. How are you going to have a boxer's chance against one of the best boxers there are in the world? You're not going to have it. So you didn't have a puncher's chance. You didn't have a boxer's chance either, which usually is what you fall back on. Okay, I got a boxer's chance. No, not against Shakur Stevenson. Stevenson, as I've said, as you said, he did his thing. He's got fast hands. He's got good eyes. You know, he's very good defensively. He's got good legs. He's got all those skill sets. He's got the pedigree with the amateurs. He's a world champion. He was a silver medalist in the Olympics. And he's got what's another thing you hear all the time? Styles make fights. He's got one of the most difficult styles. I said it in a preview last week when we were breaking these fights down. You got to be a safecracker to fight him. You got to go get a professional safecracker who listens to the tumblers and knows how to crack the toughest safes in the world that can open up a safe. Because that's what you got to do. You got to decipher his style. You got to crack the safe. And it's hard to crack open the safe with a guy as talented as I just laid out and with the style that makes him that tricky, that difficult a combination to crack open. So you come in 6 inches, he'll go back 9, he'll make you miss, he'll make you tentative now, and then he'll counter you when you reach, if you reach. Then you say, okay, I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to be more patient. Right? What else am I going to do? I'm not going to be too aggressive because he controls space so well. He's got a PhD in control space. I don't know if there is such a thing out there, but if there is a diploma for that, Shakur's got that diploma from the best place in the world. He controls space. So you come in, he makes you reach, he makes you come up short, He counters you, now you don't come in, you wait. Okay. Now you wait, he beats you to the punch with his fast hands and ability to put punches together when he wants to. The thing that's about Shakur, you got to understand, that's attached to his skills. He's got enough skills. He's not a huge puncher, but he's got enough. He could get your attention, though, and he could go to the body and hurt you, and he broke down badly. And he could catch you clean coming in. He could drop you. He could score knockouts, too. He is all those abilities that I laid out that he deserves to be given credit for are attached to something that is always attached to a human being. Their temperament, their personality, their way of thinking, their makeup. His temperament is to be cautious. And it serves him beautifully. It's made him a world champion and a silver medalist. But his temperament is to be careful, to be thoughtful, to be smart, to be responsible, to not make mistakes. And to me, it always will be there. And it will be there every time he wins and he looks great. And if he eventually loses, big if, because he's very talented, it'll be there too. That's sometimes he might not be busy enough. Sometimes there might be spots where you would feel he could do a little more. But he doesn't, because his temperament says, no, it doesn't make sense. You're doing enough, which I can't argue with. You're doing enough. That's enough. Why do more? I do more. I give him a chance. I get reckless. I get out of my comfort zone, out of what I'm good at. So he does what he's good at. Again, as long as he keeps winning, that's going to be attached to it. If he ever does have the day, whether it's Tank Davis, whoever it is, if he does have that day, and I'd love to see that fight. Who wouldn't love to see that fight? But if that does, you're probably going to say also his temperament was part of that maybe he could have done a little more. Maybe he got outpointed because he didn't throw those extra punches that you feel he could have thrown. And it's always going to be that way. And people that, I kind of laugh because they don't understand the business enough. They say, oh, he's not exciting, he's boring, he's this, he's that, he should be doing more. They don't understand that he lives in that environment since he's a kid. That works for him. He understands that if he did a little bit more, he might be the one getting counted instead of doing the countering. It works for him. He believes in it. We see it. How could you argue with it? He doesn't care if you say, oh, he could be more exciting. All he cares about is that he wins, that he does enough to win in that approach, in that style. That's what makes him Shakur Stevenson. That's what makes him a world champion. And, again, you could probably argue some guys that they're too aggressive. Oh, he gets hit too much. Okay. Yeah, you're right. He's too aggressive. He gets hit too much. He should mix in more defense. So you could always argue, you could out-hustle him. Yeah, it's possible. But you better be pretty damn good to do it. And a guy who's pretty damn good would be a guy at the level of like a Tank Davis to try to get the answers to those kind of questions at the end of the day. And I'll finish with this. For the people that say he's boring, and I heard a lot of it, right? There's also the people that will say, and I think it's fair, that will say it's beautiful. The people that will say it's the sweet science. The same way as that they'll go to a baseball game, and I've used this analogy before, Bud, where they say, I want to see home runs. I don't want to see, zeros on the scoreboard round, or, inning after inning. I want to see balls go over the freaking outfield fence. But then there'll be plenty of fans that will say, no, I want to see a pitcher that goes in there against great hitters and disarms them, takes the bat right out of their hands. changes speeds, hits the corners, doesn't blow the ball past him at 100 miles an hour. He throws it at 80 miles an hour, but he controls the batter with his control, with his ability, with his science. And if you like that, you got to love what Stevenson does, because he is that pitcher that hits corners, that changes the speed, that takes the bat out of your hands. At the end of the day, look, it was not a competitive fight. It was a one-sided fight, which I think nobody was shocked at. Padley tried like hell, but tried like hell against a guy who's a really good fighter and a fighter that was just at a higher level of talent and taking a fight, of course, on top of it on short notice.
We will see what's next. Tank fights on Saturday. That's the one everybody wants. Maybe it's Zepeda if he has the rematch potentially coming up for his farmer, but we will see. And congratulations to Shakur. Hope Floyd Schofield's feeling all right, and credit again to Padley for giving it his all and stepping in on short notice.